Thank you for your interest and willingness to serve as a volunteer judge for the Minnesota FFA Food Science Career Development event. This presentation will serve as an orientation as to what to expect on the day of the competition itself. For a little background, Minnesota FFA operates career development events, which are hands-on competitions related to different career areas in agriculture, food, and natural resource pathways. These events are designed to reinforce classroom learning and to introduce students to core career concepts such as nutrition, marketing, and safety in the area of food science. Every single career development event operated by the FFA includes similar components. They tend to all have a knowledge exam, hands-on practicums, team components, and presentations. When it comes to the food science event, students will sign up as part of a team on a chapter, and that chapter signs up to compete at one of the qualifying events throughout Minnesota. From each of our qualifying events, a designated number of teams will advance to the state finals based upon participation at each event. And finally, at the state finals later this spring, we will identify the strongest team to advance to the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis in October. The food science competition includes multiple components, including that knowledge exam that was mentioned earlier, an applied math exam, a practicum focusing on food safety and sanitation, another focusing on customer inquiry and satisfaction, and one that focuses on sensory evaluation, including triangle tests and aromas. There are team components, which include the product development scenario and product presentation, and we'll get into exact details about what that is in a moment. As a volunteer at a food science event, there are multiple capacities in which you may serve. You may proctor and score exams. You may help to facilitate the practicums happening in multiple rooms at a time. You might be able to supervise prep kitchens and help to support teams within there as they prepare for the team presentation. And finally, and this is the most common role that our judges are serving, there's actually judging the product presentations themselves and providing a question and answer session with those students to help them earn as many points as possible and showcase their knowledge. So the food science product presentation itself is based upon the development of a product and then the marketing of it to sort of a team of vice presidents, if you will. What the task is that the students are given is a sheet of paper that tells them what they need to develop and who they're marketing it to. They receive that information, the specifics of it, on site on the day of the event, and they have 1 hour to use the materials that are in the room to develop that product according to the specifications that they're given. Students consider multiple factors as they're developing their product. First, to think about the product itself. The students have known certain things about the product, its category, the platform, its market, and its key ingredient, but they didn't know everything. And so they should be making sure that they're meeting the needs that are described in the scenario that they're handed. They should be really prominently featuring that key ingredient as well and making sure it fits the description. Some teams will do this well, and some might miss the mark a little bit. If a team presents a fresh fruit with a little bit of whipped cream on the top of it, but the scenario told them they were supposed to develop a frozen dairy dessert for a retail setting, then they haven't met the expectations of the product development scenario, and they might lose some points. Remarkably, the taste of the product is not the most important thing, but it should be appealing. It should have a good appearance, a texture, an interaction of ingredients, and you might think about whether the product that they provide you would come in the setting that they say it would be sold. The product should be aiming toward an intended market audience. Students in their scenario are getting a description of that market. It might be their age, but it also will include details about them. So if they are creating a product for children, they might naturally think that it's a sweet, colorful cereal with a toy in the box, whereas that might not be the same cereal that they would develop for a senior citizen. The scenarios that the students receive do tell them clues about what that market might want. So the students don't have to come in with a strong knowledge of every market, but they should definitely include this not only in the development of their product, but in how they pitch it to you as a judge. Next, the student should calculate the cost. Teams should be able to tell you the cost of the product to be produced but also an excellent team may recommend what they might sell it for, including making a profit and including the cost of overhead. So as a judge, you're looking to see if they did the math and thought as a business. They're provided a nutrition and cost sheet, which you'll get a copy of, and that lets them very reasonably calculate the cost of their product. So they should be able to say, to create this slice of pizza, it costs $1.94, and so we recommend selling it at $3.50 a slice. They might recognize that the cost of production is a little bit high using retail costs and might propose ways that you could reduce that cost. Perhaps it's making it in bulk. Perhaps it is using seasonal products that are available for less money at that time. Maybe it is taking some of the options off of that slice of pizza to make it cheaper. But it also is something that they should recognize, is a consumer willing to pay that much for that product? Is that a reasonable thing? So see whether they understand the cost side of food science. They're also going to be able to look at that nutrition. That same document that tells them about prices also tells them all of the details that they need to know about nutrition, including all of the components that would go on a label and all of the components they might be required to include, for example, an allergen statement that they might include. So they're going to come in and bring you a label and a principal display panel, but they also should pitch to you why their product has nutritional value that meets the needs of that market. So if they're pitching to somebody who's really health conscious, they might tell you about the fact that this product is really high protein, which is going to give you lasting energy to be able to work out at the gym, which is what our market is looking for. When the students are creating this product, they're making it really in a school kitchen or maybe a test kitchen, but the intention is that this product would be marketed more professionally. And so they should be able to pitch not only how the product tastes, but how it will be effectively produced over and over again in a way that is high quality and safe. They're going to be able to describe safety concerns of that product. For example, if they're working with poultry, they probably will know the temperature it needs to be cooked at to be considered safe. And they're going to know protocols and processes, and even how that process will be consistently done to make sure that the product is of high quality for consumers. The goal of this is professional level processing, not necessarily the description of how they made that product that day. However, you may be able to allocate points to teams based upon how they showcase their knowledge of safety and processing in general. And finally, students are going to be able to tell you about marketing and sales. And so how does this product meet the needs of its audience? They should be selling you on making the product by showing that it has value to the consumer and that it can be marketed to earn money. And the way they show you their marketing will probably happen in two different ways. One, it's going to be infused throughout their pitch about why this product is good and should be made and why people would buy it. But they're also going to include information about intentional decisions about how they're going to interact with consumers. Maybe there's a marketing campaign, maybe there's a coupon, maybe it's put somewhere specifically in the store. They're going to think about that stuff, about how will this product, which is great, be a great decision for the company. So as a judge, your judging experience will look like up to 10-minute presentations from each team where you will be provided with the product to try at your choice. You do not have to eat it if you don't want to, but it actually adds to the experience. And then after their presentation, if they're done before the 10 minutes or when the 10 minutes is up, you'll be able to ask them 5 minutes of questions about their presentation. So many of the answers may be provided in the presentation itself and give you a chance to ask more questions. And then after each team, you're going to be given at least 5 minutes to fill out the scorecard before you move on to the next presenter. You can use this time to evaluate the cost and nutritional information provided and left behind by each team if you already had a chance to fill out some of your scorecard as you were listening to them. And this process you'll find will get easier and easier as you go through it, but we'll make sure that earlier teams have more time between each presentation to allow you to get comfortable with scoring and understand what you're looking for. We also are going to provide you with certain resources. You'll get a rubric scorecard that you'll complete for every single team, and we ask that you will write that team's name on there and your name on there right off at the start so that we can make sure that you get your scorecards back and that you know who you were scoring. We're also going to provide you with a judge's guide with reminders about expectations for each segment of the scorecard. and suggested questions to help you with the question and answer portion. We want to make this day as easy as possible for you to evaluate the students on what they know. We'll also provide you with all the support information that competitors receive. So you'll see the prompt that they received, you'll see the nutrition information, you'll get a copy of the National FFA rules for this event, and then some locations may even be able to provide you with a volunteer to help do the math on your scorecard so you know that math is correct and so that you don't have to spend that limited time you have adding. You'll receive that information back later, and it really tends to help the process be smooth and calm when we're able to provide a volunteer there. That volunteer may be a student or it may be another adult. This is a quick glance as to what that scorecard looks like. It is double-sided. It includes sections for that nutrition label and the package display components, which you see on the first page. There's a section for the actual presentation itself, and then the very bottom includes information about questions and how they did in that presentation itself. If you do have a tabulator, no need to do the math for each subtotal. That will be done for you, but we do need those subtotals to be added up if you don't have someone doing the math for you. So we want to know the overall total, but we also want to know the subtotals that are designated throughout. And then this guide that you're going to get, the judge's guide, it's double-sided. It includes a sample with key information so that you can quickly glance at the information they give you and see if it's correct. You'll be able to see if they have all the pieces they need. You'll be able to know what is a guarantee that this includes the correct information. Our goal is to make it as easy as possible for you to score the information. And then depending on the year or the scenario, we may even be able to give you additional support documents to make this even easier, where it might tell you that this cup of chili, for example, should have between 200 and 350 calories max if it has these ingredients, and it will narrow it down and tell you what you think it might be, and you'll be able to judge it pretty quickly with the resources that you're provided. At the end of the process, you're going to review your scorecards and make sure that the teams you thought were the best teams are the ones with the highest scores, because those scores will be added into their overall score and will determine the winners. So you're going to double check and make sure that the scores are accurate. If, for example, you find that team A you thought was the second best team and team B was the first best, but you notice team B's score is lower, you can go back and adjust your points that you gave them to assure the points on your scorecard equal the rank you think they should have. Again, we want to make sure that your name and the team name is on every scorecard so that your scores will be compared to your own scores, and so that we can make sure that the teams get added in correctly. And once that's done, you'll turn your scorecards into event staff or a room leader, who will then make sure those scores are properly added into the master scorecard. And those scores are combined with all the individual points that they earn through all those tests and practicums to determine the teams that will advance to the next level. Every single competition site will allow at least the top 2 teams to advance to the next level. And so teams 1 and 2 will get another chance to improve and try again. Teachers tend to appreciate any feedback you can provide as well, which is a great way to make sure that those students walk away with a learning experience. So every year, nearly 3,000 students compete at the state level in a career development event of some kind in Minnesota FFA. And every single one of those events begins at a qualifying event, and with an adult like you who's willing to give up a day of their time to help bring that opportunity to life. Your time and feedback as a competition judge matters, and we're very, very thankful that you were willing to give up a half a day or a whole day and travel to be able to make some student experiences positive. These students could be doing a lot of things today, but they're choosing to be here to apply what they're learning in the classroom and explore a career, and we think that that's an exciting thing. We absolutely know that it wouldn't be possible without your volunteering. Thank you so much, and have a great day.